What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crowncast. We got a lot going on this week and a lot going on this weekend. There's a lot of college sports, a lot going on in the world. So let's get to it.
So right now we're going over conference picks,
Okay, let's see what we got.
top to bottom. What do we got? So we got the AFC East, right?
Yeah,
That's where we're starting.
I would think so. I mean, I think just go from east to west to north to south, right?
Bills, Patriots, Jets, Dolphins.
I don't. So I think there's two clear-cut answers for that division, and it's not the Dolphins or the Jets.
I pretty much named them all in order.
You think the Bills will win the division?
I think so.
You know, I want to. Josh Allen looks so damn good in preseason. The little bit he played, though, just slaughtered my Packers. I don't know, man.
Well, I think it. How do you trust Mac Jones so early?
You know, that's a really good point. Honestly, I think he's a young quarterback, and he looks great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Pro Football Focus named him the best quarterback of the preseason, which a lot of people are going to disagree with. They're going to say Justin Fields, but I think, and this is just me, the Bills are probably the second best team in the AFC, if not third or first. Like, that could be a rotation.
That is true.
I mean,
I just think that the Patriots, like their offense, it obviously they did a lot of moves. Their defense is still like pretty solid,
oh, absolutely.
but it's like quarterback play.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of come down to that, but also they still don't really have a number one receiver. Didn't they bring in Nelson Aguilar?
Yeah.
But I mean, is he a number one receiver?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I think Mac Jones is young. He's still learning the game. He's obviously very well-rounded as a rookie going into the season. He can move the ball with his legs if he has to. It's not probably his preference, but I mean, he looks good, and he might break the Alabama quarterback curse we've seen.
Also, I think that just to point this out, the Dolphins, we're writing them off.
Oh, speaking of Alabama quarterbacks, Tua is terrible, and I will not be convinced otherwise.
I don't know about terrible, but I don't know he's the QB of the future.
Okay, that's fair.
I think last year if they would have kept Fitzpatrick in, they would have been a playoff team.
Absolutely.
I don't know why they benched him.
You know,
he was killing it for me in fantasy, and then they benched him, and I didn't have a backup. So
I don't know why they cut Kyle Van Noy either. So I don't know why the Dolphins do what they do.
Dude, they were one game away from the playoffs.
It's just a sad thing to see.
Jets are trash. Let's just get that out of the way.
I mean, okay, well, so the Jets are rebuilding again, but
for the 10th year in a row.
I like Zach Wilson. I do. I like Zach Wilson a lot, and I think they have young talent. They brought in Corey Davis, who's a really good wide receiver. He was never the number one in Tennessee, but he was solid. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think the Bills are the pick. I don't think that is really the debate. I think it just comes down to, can the Patriots perform at a level where it's maybe they could be that.
So we both got the Bills.
Yeah, I think
Bills for the AFC.
For sure.
AFC North. This is a pretty tough one this year. Three of them are pretty good.
I'm going to be real with you. This is a no-brainer for me.
A no-brainer.
No-brainer. I don't have a second thought in my mind.
What's that?
You go first, and we'll get to it.
Oh, we already know you're going to pick the Browns.
The land, baby. Go Cleveland. No, but I genuinely think they're the best team in that division. I think the Steelers are on the decline. Fight me. I think the Ravens are really good, but there's some concerns, right? You lose J.K. Dobbins. Is Gus Edwards a number one back? I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably not. And they refuse to bring in anybody else.
I know who they can have their running back.
What's that?
Lamar Jackson.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
The Browns for me, their defense is solid. It's kind of like the Patriots. Everything's solid, but their quarterback.
I don't know, man.
Is Baker your guy?
Baker's not my guy. Okay, but
is he gonna win you championships? Is he gonna?
Oh, that's what you're saying. Okay, so I think other than his sophomore season, he has improved every year. He struggles with interceptions a little bit. He has really good wide receivers, a great backfield. whether you like Kareem Hunt or not, he's still a very good athlete, a very good running back.
And a very good kicker.
Anyway.
That was a good one.
Is this how we're going to start this show?
What?
Oh, God. Anyway. So,
AFC South.
AFC South. So we're both picking the Browns, or are you a Ravens guy? Or a Steelers guy?
I would pick the Ravens.
Yeah.
Over the Browns.
I mean, I can understand it. I do.
I don't know if Baker Mayfield's your guy.
So, but the thing is, honestly.
Also, I think the Browns played a lot better without OBJ, and now that he's back, I think he's a distraction to the team.
I don't agree with that, but I mean, I do agree that with Donovan Peoples-Jones on the field, they spread the ball around really well. They made plays when they needed to, but I also think Cleveland's defense is easily the best in that division.
I like the Steelers.
Well, that's not true. The Steelers' defense is pretty damn good.
The Steelers need a running back, and then they got one for Najee Harris, but I still think that their team's just way too. It's like young, but it's old at the same time. Their defense is still like top 10, top 5.
Here's what I think. Their offensive line got much worse this year. Najee Harris is going to have to fight an uphill battle every play between those trenches. And especially in a division where you have Cleveland, whose defensive line is probably a top 5 D-line in the league. That's 2 games a year. I get that. But, like, Myles Garrett will eat you alive if you do not have good tackles. We've seen it happen. He eats good tackles alive. I mean, like, I don't want to write off the Steelers because I think they're a good team. Don't get me wrong.
Their defense wins championships.
We've seen it happen. The Broncos, remember that?
I mean, people say that, like, they were the worst, like, 11-0 team in the league?
Steelers?
But, like, they didn't have the offense, but they definitely had the defense.
I mean, T.J. Watt is an animal.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Fitzpatrick's probably a top 3 DB in the NFL, if you ask me.
Don't even talk to me about that top 100 list. That was garbage. AFC South.
I'm just going to say this. Brady shouldn't have been a top 10 player in the league.
All right.
Anyway,
that's
AFC
enough.
South.
I think that, I mean, obviously I'm a Colts fan.
Yep.
But the Colts, to me, it's between the Colts and the Titans. But the Colts still do not have a quarterback.
Okay.
Carson Wentz, I get it if he's healthy. But, like, still. We have no idea. He could play one snap and break his ankle for all I know again.
I mean, that's a fair point. However.
And the Titans are only getting better.
I disagree.
Why?
Okay, so yeah, you bring in Julio, you have A.J. Brown. You lose Corey Davis, but that's okay because you brought in Julio. Whatever, right? Great deep threat. He's a good player. He's 31. He's not that old. Wide receivers play till they're like 36. Anyway.
Unless you're Calvin Johnson.
Well, that's more to do with the Lions than it is Calvin. But, so I think the Titans defense is going to be bad. I mean, they're going to be bad this year. They bring in a couple good players, but that defensive line, name one player on it. Name one player.
Solid point.
I mean, like, and then you were in a division with guys who can run the ball. James Robinson, we saw last year, between the tackles and between the guards, he gets yards. He's not going to get you outside those guys, but he will go up the gut for 5 yards.
See, the Colts, for me, they're a team where if they let a team score more than 30 points, they're not winning. The Colts are like a run it up the middle and pray your defense stops some team. Because we do have 3 good running backs.
That's the thing, right? So you have Jonathan Taylor, who is obviously your bell cow back. I don't think that's up for debate now.
Right.
Marlon Mack can still play. He tore his ACL, I think it was last year. And, but he showed he's got game in the last 2 seasons. And then you have, what's his name? The running back, the other third stringer.
Hines?
Yeah, Naheem Hines. He's like a slot receiver that can run the ball. So
he's a good special teams.
Yeah, he's great on special teams. That's one of the reasons you bring him back is because people undervalue what you can do on special teams with good players.
So we both got the Colts?
I'm taking the Colts.
All right.
And it could be the Titans.
It's a 2-man race.
But I think that
by a long shot.
I think the Titans are going to get eaten alive by okay offenses because that defense is bad.
Texans are trash. Probably 2-14.
I honestly,
Jacksonville.
You want a bold prediction?
A bold prediction.
Houston won't win a game this season.
I feel like that's
Not that bold.
not that bold.
I don't think Houston wins a game this season. They'll be the third team.
The Jags, I still have very much concerns about. Maybe not their team, but their head coach. But we won't talk about that.
Well, I think it has a lot to do with how young that team is. Because like James Robinson's pretty young. He's a good runner, but he's young. Trevor Lawrence struggled a little in preseason. That's not a big deal. He'll develop. He didn't play in a pro-style offense in college, so you don't really, But the only real number one wide receiver they have is DJ Chark. And, I mean, that's fine if you expect, well, I guess they have Marvin Jones now too, right?
Yeah.
And he's solid, but he's getting older, and you can't really expect him to put up a 1,000-yard season with a rookie quarterback and an O-line that's kind of shoddy. And then there's Laviska Shenault, who's good. He was okay. I mean, last year he wasn't anything incredible, but like he'll catch you a pass on first. Just depends.
AFC West.
So that's Chiefs division, right?
Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos.
I mean, I think if I have to say that's the Chiefs division, you already know the answer to the question, but I don't think there's any team in that division who even has a shot in hell.
I would say that the Chargers are the number 2 team, right?
Oh, I would.
But
the Broncos might be good this year. It depends on if we get 5-game stretch with the Saints, Teddy Bridgewater, or we get Carolina Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater.
That's a fair point. So we're just gonna pick the Chiefs. I agree.
It is the Chiefs, but that number 2 spot could fluctuate a little bit.
That's a fair point. The worst division in football, we got the NFC East.
Oh yes,
we got the Washington football team. We got the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys.
Logan, you just pissed off so many Cowboys fans.
I feel like I just made a couple Eagles fans mad.
The thing is, I feel like Eagles fans are more passionate, but with their words anyway. But I don't think that they would argue their team is kind of bad. Like, the Cowboys fans are so prideful. They're so full of it.
So I'm just going to pick the Washington football team based on their defense.
I'm going to pick the Washington football team because Ryan Fitzpatrick wins games. We've seen it for years. The
Scary
dude
Terry
does not lose you a football game usually. And I think the Cowboys defense still needs a lot of work. And the offense is in flux because guess who their head coach is? A guy who can't figure out how to get 1,000-yard rush.
All right, Mr. Packer Backer over here.
No. Mike McCarthy. Look what happened to Aaron Jones after he left Green Bay. The dude exploded. He's a top 10 back in the NFL. He could not figure out how to use that talent. He goes to Dallas. Ezekiel Elliott, garbage can last year. Seriously, you might as well put Tony Pollard.
I was pretty glad I didn't draft him.
Me too. So I don't think the guy knows how to get a runner involved in the game. That's just my opinion. You can tell me I'm wrong. I won't read the comments anyway. The point is...
You will read every comment.
I probably will.
What are the odds for Washington to win in bets?
Washington, I want to say, was at plus...
Because, I mean, I feel... 260?
Plus 260.
So what if you put $5 in? Well, how much are you doing?
So that would be like $11.
$11?
13, actually. And then you get your bet back if you win, so $18.
NFC North.
So the NFC North, honestly, if you want to debate me on this, go ahead. But, and this sounds terrible because I'm a Packer fan, but I think every team in that division, other than the Packers, is going to be dog water this year.
So how do you feel about the Bears?
Bears are easily number 2.
And their quarterback situation.
So,
the fans, obviously, they know what they want.
I think everybody except for Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy know what they want.
Thank you. Can we both agree that Justin Fields should be the starter?
Andy Dalton, listen, he had some good years with the Bengals.
Some.
And then he declined. And then he went to Dallas last year. Yes. And he did not play well. And you know what Dallas has at wide receiver? Some really good players. CeeDee Lamb came in. He showed up. Amari Cooper was there. You can make excuses for him all year long. I still think the Dallas Cowboys had a pretty solid O-line last year, even though Tyron Smith was out.
Well, their offense was still pretty good.
Was it?
I mean, you got some weapons.
Without Dak, that offense was bad. And I think Dak is an average quarterback.
Dude, did you see the stats Dak had when he was healthy?
I know.
with that offense.
I agree, which is why I'm saying, like, I think that
CeeDee Lamb, Elliott, like you got Amari Cooper, like.
Let's not discount Blake Jarwin. He's actually a pretty solid tight end.
I would say Cole Beasley, but he got traded. So.
Yeah, he was with the Bills. But so I just look at those guys and I go, wow, he couldn't make it happen with those guys. And now he's in Chicago, who, yeah, Allen Robinson's pretty good. Jimmy Graham can still catch a football sometimes. Cole Kmet's, young. He'll develop. He'll be a good tight end.
So how do we feel about the Vikings, though?
The Vikings?
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to be bad. They're going to be real bad.
Really? Like, even their offense?
Okay. I don't know why. But I just feel like when I look at the Vikings roster, despite Dalvin Cook, despite Jefferson, despite Adam Thielen, I just don't see them being very good. That O-line needs work. They did draft some O-linemen. They did pick up some players.
Right.
So, obviously, you have to take that into account. But you can also say, like, okay, so what if they don't play well? Or what if they don't come in and show out? Like, look what happened with the Giants and Andrew Thomas last year. You can bring a guy in, and he can be a number one prospect all day at the position, but he can be bad. And Andrew Thomas with the Giants was bad. His numbers are terrible. There were guys drafted in late rounds who outplayed him. So I don't know. I have a gut feeling about the Vikings, and I know that that's not what we really want to base this off of, is gut feelings.
Right.
But I just feel like they're going to maybe win 6 games this year. 7?
6 or 7?
Yeah, I don't really like them this year.
How many wins do you think the Lions are going to get?
2.
2?
2.
Do you know how many people that are going to watch our podcast that are Lions fans?
Well, so this is a regional show.
Regional? We have like 2 followers.
Yeah, it's me and you.
Exactly.
So, I got to be honest. The Lions roster is bad. Like, I just went on a diatribe about how the Vikings look bad to me. You want to talk about a team with no weapons?
Yeah, but at least they drafted a tight end first round, like, was it 2 or 3 years ago? TJ Hawkinson?
Oh, yeah, Hawkinson. Well, he's their best receiver now, and he's a pretty solid blocker. I like Hawkinson.
How do you feel Jared Goff's going to do, though?
So, to be honest, I hated when the Rams drafted Jared Goff. I didn't like that pick. And you know what? I was right. I still don't like that pick. I think he has boomer bust potential in every game he plays. But
yeah. So we both picked Packers.
Yep.
I think that the Bears are number 2. Justin Fields, by week 3 or 4, will be the starter.
I don't think that's actually up for debate. And if they don't make him the starter, they should really lose their job. I mean, they should have lost their jobs last year. Also, let's talk about Trubisky for just a second. Mitch Trubisky in the preseason looked pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. And that, to me, tells me that the Bears have no idea what to do with talent.
Who's their running back?
Who?
For the Bears.
Oh, God. David Robinson, I believe. That sounds wrong.
It's Montgomery, but okay.
Montgomery, thank you. I'm thinking of...
I was just making a joke about how terrible
I'm thinking
they're...
of Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
But,
NFC South.
So I think that's a pretty easy one to pick, too.
But
I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, the Saints, Michael Thomas, like that relationship is not very good right now.
Apparently they had wine or something one night and worked it out, him and Sean
Had like a nice long walk on the beach type of thing.
Held hands, in the sunsets in New Orleans.
I'm writing off the Panthers and the Falcons because the Falcons are still trash.
So I'm going to say this. I think that the Panthers might actually be the second best team in that division this year.
Really?
So I think we all know that the Buccaneers are the pick. I don't think anybody's going to argue with you on that. I don't think anybody's going to try to make a case for the Saints.
I was trying to hype up the Saints because Jameis Winston, but then again, it's like who does he have to throw to?
Well,
Callaway was pretty good in the preseason.
He was amazing in the preseason. But again, that's the preseason. You're playing 2s and 3s and 4s.
Right.
So you don't really know who you have at the position. Obviously, he played well, but we'll see.
It's the Buccaneers. There's no.
It's not up for debate. But can I go back to my opinion on Carolina?
Yeah.
So I actually like Sam Darnold.
You do?
I do. I
like Robbie Anderson.
So that's what I was going to get to is they have a really solid wide receiver stable. They're getting back a healthy McCaffrey, which is a big deal because McCaffrey is probably I'm not going to say the best, but he's probably top 2 dual threat running back. Along
Who's
with
number
Kamara.
1?
It'd be Kamara or him.
Oh, all right. I was like,
And we'll see with Jonathan Taylor and Saquon and a couple other guys this year.
I don't know.
Dalvin Cook.
Taylor, I feel like he's more like a power back, like with the.
He's but he's so fast.
I know, but Hines is like the slot guy, you know,
Yeah,
for like
that's
a running
true, that's
back.
true.
Like McCaffrey, there's not like. I mean, where's Mike Davis now?
He's with Atlanta, and
He's
I
with
like him
Atlanta?
a lot actually. But Atlanta's not going to be good this year. They still need a lot of work, and honestly, I don't know how they. Well, I know why, but Matt Ryan's contract is absolutely garbage, and they can't get rid of him. So that's.
I mean,
why,
that's the same thing with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't. They
I
paid
mean,
him so much money.
They've paid him way too much. You know what though? I don't want to drag on him because as much as I don't think he's a great quarterback, he's not terrible.
He just can't win primetime games.
I mean, he proved that last year he could a couple times. He played on Monday Night Football and on Thursday Night Football.
You got to look at it too. Like
Or
Justin Jefferson had a blowout year, but it's like who's throwing to him?
1,400-yard season with Justin Jefferson, but Thielen wasn't that great last year. So who else is going to get the ball on that team?
Yeah, I mean Dalvin Cook had another good year. So now we got NFC West, which for me is the hardest one to pick.
So I think that's everyone's like that is the best division
Because that has 4 teams that are playoff teams.
Putting aside my fanship, that is the best division in football.
I think if the 49ers stay healthy, that's the big concern right there.
I would argue that the 49ers offense is very under-talented.
How so?
Kittle's great.
Right.
You have some good players on that roster. Couple good wide receivers there. What's his name? I forget all the time. The fast one. It doesn't matter.
Who?
For the 49ers, the wide receiver. Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel, who also can't stay healthy.
He can't either. But, I mean, he had a pretty good campaign last year.
Right.
With pretty bad quarterbacks. It comes down to me to... I think Trey Sermon's going to be their starting running back.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So it comes down to me, how good is their backfield? We know they have a couple guys who can break it off for decent yardage.
Yeah.
How good is their backfield? How good is their blocking? Because they do still have Williams, I believe, at tackle, and they've got a couple good guys in there, but that fluctuates some years in and out. They play in a division that has a very solid D-line in it, I believe, I would say.
The Cardinals D-line got better.
Yeah, absolutely. J.J. Watt
Yeah.
immediately makes the
Who
better.
actually, he still wants to play. He just didn't want to play in Houston.
That, and you got to consider his injury history when you think about J.J. Watt. But if he stays healthy, he's still a top 5 edge in the NFL, top 10.
Seahawks?
I like the Seahawks a lot this year. I think their O-line is going to be better this year. I just think there's some questions about that defense, right? So, yeah, they have Jamal Adams still. Yeah, they have, a couple good corners there. But, I don't know who they have at linebacker other than Bobby Wagner anymore. I don't know who they even have on the D-line anymore.
Rams?
I like the Rams. I do.
I like their offense a lot. I think that Stafford's going to throw the ball and he's going to have a field day.
Yes. I'm not
if Cooper Kupp could stay healthy.
I agree. Robert Woods is great, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's amazing. So, and the only thing there, again, the same problem as the 49ers for me is who's running the ball. And I don't like Cam Akers as it was last year. I thought he was very, very underutilized and not very good when he was utilized. Sean McVay's a great coach.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen that every year he's come into the league, or since he's come into the league, his team has put a good performance on the field. And
Stafford, I think he's still...
I think Stafford is 2 times the quarterback Jared Goff is.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't like Jared Goff.
So, who do we got for the division?
I think, this is where we might actually not be yes men for each other, because I think we've agreed on most of these except for maybe Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, I'm going with the 49ers.
Really?
I am. Because I think regardless of Garoppolo or Lance, I think their defense is much better than the rest of the teams in that division. Obviously, we didn't really talk about the Rams' defense, which is good. They are very good. But, I don't know. I think the 49ers. And I'm self-proclaimed 49ers hater. So this is a big step for me. You'll have to leave me.
Yeah, I think they're going to get last in the division. So.
Really?
Yeah.
No
49ers,
shit.
last.
Why? Why do you feel like that?
I think the Cardinals, their offense and the addition of J.J. Watt makes them a lot better. I think that the Rams having Matt Stafford makes them a lot better. I think the 49ers cannot stay healthy. I think that's their biggest thing. They already had 2 guys that are already out. My pick for that division is Seattle.
So, okay, that's fine. Do you know who my second pick for that division is?
Who?
Arizona.
Really?
Here's why.
Why?
Kyler Murray has completely gotten better every single year of his career.
Right.
They brought in A.J. Green, who aging and struggling to stay healthy his whole career.
Yep.
But still pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
They drafted a wide receiver. I can't remember if it was Rondale Moore or Elijah Moore. I think it was one of them. And dynamic, both of them. Great players. Still have DeAndre Hopkins. Obviously, there's questions of, his motivation to play given the current status of the league and God forbid.
Same for
COVID.
Cole Beasley.
Yes. Well, but I think they're on different levels of.
That's a very, very fair point.
But not only that, they did bring in Rodney Hudson from the Raiders, I believe. And they drafted well. I like the Cardinals a lot this year. And that's not bringing up, the fact that they brought in James Conner and I think they traded Kenyon Drake, right? To the Raiders.
I think so, yeah.
But they there's the other running back that they had last year who, when he came in for Kenyon Drake, played really well. I don't remember his name right now, but there's some really good players on that roster. And I genuinely think that the Seahawks might be the worst team in that division. But the thing about it is, we say all this, but that division could be any one of those teams.
It literally could. It just depends on performance and who can stay healthy. Because that, like I said, the 49ers, they are a top team if they can stay healthy.
I mean, they were 1 year removed from a Super Bowl before they won, 3 or 4 games last year? Was that all they won,
I think so. It wasn't very good.
Yeah, it wasn't a good season. So, I mean, yeah, you wanna give the benefit of the doubt to the 49ers, which I will. But I also don't know that you're going to get who's going to be the quarterback. It seems like Garoppolo right now, though Kyle Shanahan doesn't want to tell anybody. So
No, but who does want to tell anybody? Bill Belichick didn't tell anybody, and then he cut Cam Newton.
Yeah,
which is what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah.
So you got the Cardinals, or you got the 49ers, and I got the Seahawks for that one. On to Cam Newton. I mean, why?
Why cut him?
Why? Why can't he be a backup?
Well, okay. So I think he had a pretty good cap hit, right?
Right.
And I think now Mac Jones better be, made of steel. But
steel? I think if anyone's made of steel, it's Cam Newton.
Well, I mean, he is Superman.
Exactly.
No, but
have you seen Mac Jones pictures?
Yeah, he looks like me, but that's not.
He looks like Tom Brady when he was drafted.
Okay, perfect. That's what Bill wanted. So, I mean, yeah.
Bill saw Mac Jones and then he was like, "Yeah, that's Tom Brady right there."
Like, that's my Tom. That's who I want at quarterback. But
did you see how what he said? He said that long thing about everyone was like, "Oh, did you cut him because Cam wasn't vaccinated?" And he was like, "No." No explanation, just no.
I mean, that's how Bill is, though.
I know.
So it's
all these other coaches, I think what was it, Jags coach Urban Meyer was
Meyer, yeah.
He was always like, yeah, no, we didn't cut them because they weren't vaccinated. This long freaking thing.
Yeah, but then he goes on and says, well, it's something you got to consider too. So they keep.
Or Chris Ballard and the Colts said if a player isn't vaccinated, they should be penalized.
See, I don't agree with that.
Me neither.
But I mean.
But that's where players like Cole Beasley and D Hop were we ain't about this.
All right, I try to see things objectively, right? See the whole story.
Right.
These are multi-billion-dollar businesses.
Yeah.
They're trying to put their best product on the field so they can win games and be a successful franchise.
Yep.
that doesn't mean you take rights away from players, though.
That's fair. And we are not a political podcast.
No, let's get off of this.
Let's just get straight to that. But I think in like fantasy terms and in football terms,
it's worth considering.
It is, because it's like, oh, well, this person has to be out for 2 weeks or a week, and it's like a big divisional game. Like me and you are going to the game in the Colts in October versus the Titans. That's a second game versus them. You know, that's a big.
That could decide the division.
And what if it was like? What if it's like, oh, Derrick Henry, he's out for that week because he has COVID. Dude, he's like a star player. Like, he's one of the best on their team.
Also,
you know?
Isn't the NFL like not like postponing games if they have to? Like they're
I think forfeit,
right?
You have to forfeit if you don't have enough.
Something whatever. Like if it doesn't meet certain terms or whatever. It's like I genuinely don't know how that like
because they don't want to reschedule games like they had to last year.
However, if I'm in the same league as you and you don't want to draft DeAndre Hopkins because of his vaccination status, I will absolutely take him. So I don't think I can pass on
That's the next topic.
Yeah, so fantasy, right?
Oh wait, no. We got to talk about the betting odds for the conferences.
Yeah,
and divisions.
So to win,
because they're actually pretty good. If you put like a $5 bet down and you actually get them, it's wild.
So I mean, that's if you parlayed everything together, right? So like,
not individually, but
if you do individual bets, you can still win some decent money. And we're not a super big gambling show. We're gonna talk about it because I like to. I'm a degenerate. He's not.
You guys have no idea how bad it gets for NBA.
We probably
those parlays are wild.
We probably put out a decent amount of money combined.
Probably too much.
Probably a lot. And, you know, this is a primarily football show.
It's like, Giannis, get 30 points. Trae Young, get 10 threes. Oh, all right.
And then it starts adding up, and you see the number add up on the bet totals, and you go, oh, this looks like a good bet. And then you don't win, and you lose $20.
And then, like, Trae Young doesn't get a double-double, and Giannis doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So, for the betting odds, I love some of these. So a lot of people will look at minus odds who are young, like not experienced gamblers, and they go, "Oh, I don't want to touch that." But the Bills at minus 150 to win that division, I think is gold. I think that's easy money on.
Why is that?
What do you mean?
Like why? Like people that don't like bet, like why do you think that?
So like when I first started out,
you
see minus odds, you're like, "Well, I don't want to touch that."
Yeah. You don't make as much money.
Right. But, I mean, it's like almost a sure bet to me. Like, minus 150 on the Bills.
So what if you put like $10 in that? What would you?
So I think you'd win like $850. I'll check. So, sorry, that's my bet.
So what if you like put the Chiefs down? Like, what are the Chiefs odds? Like probably negative.
So probably like, minus like
800.
250, I would imagine. Minus 290 for the Chiefs.
Yeah, so what if you put $5 down or $10? Would you win anything?
You'd win money, but it's like when you... It's like a $10 bet on the Chiefs would win you $3.45. Obviously, you get your bet back, so you'd win technically $13.45.
Right.
But that's when you start playing with parlays.
Well, that's when you start stacking stuff. Yeah, parlays. That's where you get it.
So Buffalo at minus 150. I love that. And we'll just go down the list. Miami's at plus 330, New England 360, which I love New England.
Well,
let's do 360, but
so do the Bills.
Okay.
And then do the Browns.
Okay.
And then do the Colts.
Okay.
The Chiefs.
Okay.
Washington.
Okay.
The Packers.
Yep.
The Buccaneers.
Yeah, and they're at minus 240, by the way. They're basically guaranteed to win that.
Yeah,
per betting
much.
Vegas definitely believes in the Buccaneers.
We'll try one for the 49ers, and then we'll try one for the Seahawks.
So, okay.
Actually, we didn't agree with the NFC North, but we'll get over
the
it.
NFC North? I thought
we both agreed. North.
Oh, okay,
AFC North.
Okay. So
yeah, NFC North. Yeah, fuck the Packers.
So if you combined all 8 of those teams, a $10 bet would win you $3,400.
That ain't bad.
That's really good. And like again, I don't endorse gambling.
No.
Do what you can do if you want to. That's
right.
Like don't.
But $3,400 for that. I mean, all those picks are practically
that's an investment.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly,
I think the hardest one is the NFC West.
Right, so let's say you do it with the Rams, which are at plus 200. So the 49ers are favorites at plus 190.
Yeah.
And the Rams are at plus 200, right? So that's 3,500. It's almost $100 more dollars just for a plus 10 odds.
Yeah.
But if you took the Seahawks at plus 280, you get up to $4,400.
What about change it to the Ravens?
The Ravens instead of the Browns?
Yeah, and keep the Seahawks.
So they're the favorites for that division.
No surprise there.
Yeah, plus 115 for the Ravens. But it's all plus odds on the AFC North. So no matter what, you're going to at least double your money, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's pretty good.
So, I mean, $10, win 3,400, like, sign me up.
So, but then, if you took the Seahawks out, right, and put the Cardinals in at plus 600 odds, so this is the Cardinals, the Buccaneers, the Packers, the football team.
The Redskins.
I would not say that.
Why?
People get mad at that.
All right.
It's the football team.
Need the football team.
All right. Kansas City.
Yep.
Indianapolis.
Yep.
Baltimore.
Yep.
Buffalo.
Yep.
All of those teams
Yeah.
combined, $10 bet wins you $6,900.
That is golden.
Now that's again with Arizona to win that division. So obviously you might not want to take that, but if you're feeling lucky, like,
I mean, like I said, the
it's
NFC
very
West
possible.
is any of them.
And you know, just for the sake of it, because people are going to be mad that we both think Washington's going to win that division, I'll put the Cowboys in instead, and that's still plus 4,400.
That's a loss. You just lost $10. Might as well just throw it in the garbage at that point. What?
Dude, Cowboys fans are going to hate us this
All right.
year.
So moving on to the next topic.
Okay.
So Sunday at 7 o'clock, we have our draft. We have 2 leagues technically. We have one free league
And
that
then one-
like nobody joined because nobody reads our Facebook posts.
Yeah, well, you know, we're working on it.
And the other one was a $25 league.
Okay.
So we really care about the $25 league.
I think that's kind of the consensus is that that's the league that matters.
Pretty much.
But I like fantasy for free too.
Yeah.
Just have fun. Also, it's a good way to learn like, what people are doing.
So we've done a couple of mock drafts.
Yeah.
I beat ups and stuff.
Yeah. A spot.
All of them had running backs in the first 8 picks.
I mean,
All of them.
I wouldn't say all of them, right?
The only other player was Patrick Mahomes.
But the thing is that the top 5 ranked players are running backs.
Right, but then the second, third round, dude,
And we should preface this.
There's no running backs left.
Yeah, we should preface this. We use Yahoo Sports Fantasy. So
Yeah, ESPN is garbage.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but you should know that because like different fantasy apps and sites are going to use different
By the
ones.
way, Yahoo rankings this year are pretty garbage.
I would agree with that.
I mean, Robbie Anderson, like I was trying to find him and he was so down low, and I was just like, "There's no way."
Yeah. So, like,
First overall pick, who do you got?
so I personally will never take Christian McCaffrey ever again. Number 1 overall. I had the number 1 overall pick last season, and that went really well for me.
I'm pretty positive that if I had the first pick, I'd pick Kamara.
See, okay, so it's Kamara or Henry for me. And why Henry? So Henry, while he's not the biggest, you know.
For some reason, every year he slips to like 8 or 9.
Well, so the other thing is we play in a PPR league. So
Yeah.
point per reception.
Yep.
The thing a lot of people forget about is running backs get passing yards too.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Dalvin Cook does that quite a bit too.
so like, if you want my best value out of the first round, like if you're picking, we'll say 7. That means you pick again at 14
Yeah.
because we do it snake.
Mm-hmm.
So Aaron Jones will probably be available there. And I assume because Green Bay got rid of Jamal Williams, A.J. Dillon's going to take those, you know, those reps. He's going to get some passes out of the backfield. He's very good at, when the ball's in his hands, he makes plays. So I like him as a value running back out of the first round. I wouldn't call it value because it's still a first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
But like with the way drafts are going this year, you're gonna want to draft a running back.
See, the
early.
problem is our league now, like NFL, is there's a lot of running back by committee. So like the Colts, like you might think like, oh, Jonathan Taylor, like he's still on the board, but he's gonna get you yards and maybe some catches, but the problem is you got Nakeem Hines and you got Marlon Mack, like you got a 3-back set, which was the problem for I think, what guy was it last year? It was like Kenyon Drake or something like that. Like both of them, there was 2 running backs. I can't remember who it was though.
That's the thing is the NFL's changed to a running back by committee approach.
Yeah.
So like I was talking about the Packers, if you're within 3 yards of the goal line, you're probably not handing the ball off to Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
A.J. Dillon's a big guy. He's a bruiser. He's 6'2". He's probably 250 pounds. I don't know how big.
I could take him.
You could take him.
Yeah.
Are you Boston Connoring this?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that got canceled. So anyway.
Yikes.
No. He's a big guy. Like.
Yeah.
He's not Derrick Henry. He's not a behemoth of a man, but he would absolutely crush me. Like
I wouldn't want to tackle him.
I played D-line, and I wouldn't want to tackle him.
I mean, I played corner, but I was like, it's really small. So
yeah, well, that was a while ago too.
I go for the ankles.
But so like I think you have to consider that, which is why like later, maybe around 5, 6, 7.
One thing we noticed too was wide receivers go like really late too.
I wouldn't even say it's late though necessarily.
But I mean, you still got high quality guys like Robbie Anderson too. Like he's still like not ranked that high.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think they're worried about Sam Darnold, which is probably why a lot of the players in Carolina have gone down in value, other than McCaffrey, who's got to be a top 3 pick no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
But like, let's talk about the top backs that go right in mock drafts every time. You got Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara. Jonathan Taylor's ranked really high. He had a great season, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, he did.
Marlon Mack's coming back.
He is.
And he's going to get
People forget how Marlon Mack was with that offense.
Well, he had a 1,000-yard rushing season before, didn't he? 2019, 2020 season or something like that.
What do you feel about Nick Chubb?
Nick Chubb? I love Nick Chubb. Honestly, I think he's, I don't know how to say it, but underrated in the running back conversation.
Are we staying away from Barkley?
So that's the other thing, right? Like
I mean,
he's about the first picks in the draft.
He's a top running back,
Barkley's
but I mean,
on that list. I personally, I think I went over this earlier. If I didn't, whatever. But he can't stay healthy to me.
No.
Yeah, we talked about that when I went over the Giants.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't risk it personally. I've seen too many people get burned, and I hate when I get burned. I mean, it's gonna happen. You're gonna draft a player who's gonna get injured. Like, if you don't, good for you. Lucky you. The rest of us have to deal with that every year, though. And
so, one player that I've always wanted on my team every single year, and he's not ranked this high, is Chris Carson. Thoughts?
Chris Carson. Yeah. So I actually like him this year going into this season. Like I said, I think the Seahawks kind of shored up that O-line a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. Try to appease Russell Wilson as much as they can. We know Russell Wilson can make plays with his legs, but he is getting older. He is getting older, and you don't want to do too much. And he has always had to do too much with that team.
I haven't seen it yet because we haven't done any mock drafts since he got hurt, but I think James Robinson's definitely a top pick now.
Oh, I would. Yeah, we need to do that actually, because I would love to see the change in statistics on that 1,000-yard rusher in his first season.
Or how about Austin Eckler?
Worst, but it's not great.
He's back now. I mean, he doesn't really have so much competition.
I would say, who even would his competition be?
What is it, like Justin Jackson or something last year was one of the backups?
Yeah.
And
is he still there? Do you know?
I don't know.
Well,
I know I picked up another backup from the Chargers, but I can't remember his name because he was dog water. But wide receivers.
So are you asking me
I mean, obviously we know
Davante Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Those are guys who are going to go early.
Just a word of advice for everybody. Don't trade Justin Jefferson like I did last year.
Well, actually, both of us traded him last year.
It did not end well.
Yeah, you traded him in week 2. I traded him in week 5.
Because he didn't get any catches in the first 3 weeks.
To preface
and then the fourth week,
want to trade him.
In the fourth week, he went off for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, well, I traded him for Mike Davis because I desperately needed a running back after McCaffrey got hurt. So that kind of screwed me over. But I did pick up James Robinson, so that was a huge snag for me last year.
Yeah, I traded for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and he didn't do anything for me after that.
I got to tell you, I'm not a big Clyde Edwards-Helaire fan. I think he's incredibly overrated.
I think that he's going to have a better year without, who is their back? Le'Veon Bell.
We talk about, well, that's been talked about enough, though, Le'Veon Bell and Andy Reid.
They got into it a couple times. I don't think he's coming back.
No, he's not, but
I think that was confirmed.
But I think it's hilarious how he's like, oh, I'll never play for Andy Reid again. I'll never do it. Okay, well, Andy Reid's one of the most well-respected NFL head coaches. So, obviously, you're the problem.
Literally.
So,
I think for quarterbacks, I mean, Patrick Mahomes, typically in most leagues, he does go first, definitely second round. He doesn't last till the third round.
If he makes it out of the first round, there's no way he's not a early
exactly.
second round pick.
I think he's still got to watch out for Josh Allen.
The value, actually, on Josh Allen is very good.
One quarterback that he does good every single year, but for some reason he always slides, is Russell Wilson. I think that's kind of wild.
So in our mocks, he was going in like round 8 to 10.
And like we know that's mocks, but like that seems pretty
ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, like you can't.
He's got DK. He's got arguably one of the most underrated wide receivers.
Well, that's the other thing is Lockett was going late too.
Dude, Lockett used to get like 3 touchdowns one game. Like there was like a Thursday or Sunday night game, and it was just like, dude, he always slides down the boards.
It's crazy to me. I think they think DK is going to get all those carries or those catches, but I just don't think that.
Well, somebody's going to get double teamed.
Yeah,
and most of the time it's DK.
Well, you can only put so many guys on somebody, and DK
then
is a freak athlete.
You can't double both because Russell Wilson still has legs, and Chris Carson's still there.
I mean, and again, Chris Carson needs to stay healthy this year.
Yes,
but he's a bruiser.
That is true.
He's not going to outrun your safety and your corners, but he will run through them. You know what I mean? Like, he's not Marshawn Lynch. Don't get me wrong, but he'll get your goal line grabs. Like that's where you're gonna want him is when it's first and goal. He's gonna get the ball, and he's gonna score. He might not get 20 touchdowns in a season, but he'll probably get 6 to 8 at least, maybe more than that. Like, I think you have a good running back there.
I agree,
especially with the value. Like late round, he's usually around a lot later than the other guys.
So how this might be like a sleeper pick. We're not exactly sure, but Philip Lindsay with the Texans.
Yeah. So
I mean, the Texans they have Mark Ingram. I think do they still have David Johnson?
I think they do. Yeah. But there's only so many carries to go around, and he was. Really
They don't
good.
even know who their quarterback is yet.
Well, that's a conversation for another time. Until we figure out what the hell's going on with that. I don't even
They still haven't traded him because they want him to play, and he literally it doesn't confirm that he requested a trade, but so this is the next topic. So me and Dawson are doing this thing. We're picking the winners of each team every week. We're going to see how this goes.
So, and the other thing is we'll talk about betting odds on this too because I actually have a bet.
They are if you thought the division winners were wild, you should see the weekly picks. So, those numbers are whack.
So as it turns out, a few weeks ago, and my opinions may have changed since then, so don't judge me too harshly. As it stands, I actually do have a bet out on 16 games for week 1.
Which we're going to go over right now.
Yes.
So we got the Thursday night game.
Which is Tampa Bay, Dallas.
We both agreed that it was Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually up for debate. If people think Dallas is going to come out and absolutely destroy or even beat Tampa.
Name a person on their defense.
They just drafted.
Case in point.
I know players on their defense. I just
Case in
can't
point.
think off the top of my head. Come on now. Micah Parsons. They just drafted him.
Yikes. Okay, Philadelphia versus Atlanta.
So I'm taking Atlanta for that.
We both are taking Atlanta. Okay, so we have Pittsburgh and Buffalo. I picked Buffalo.
Yeah, I picked Buffalo too. I'm not a big Pittsburgh guy for this season.
Sorry, Ozro.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. He's a friend of the show.
So we got Vikings and Bengals. I got the Vikings.
So I also took the Vikings, and I don't dislike the Bengals going into this matchup.
I don't understand their head office drafting the wide receiver before the offensive line, and then I think they actually just traded an offensive lineman.
Did they?
I think so.
I honestly
can't tell you his name.
Truth be told, I don't keep up with the Vikings well enough.
It was the Bengals.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The Bengals drafted the wide receiver.
Oh, yeah, they drafted Jamar Chase before Penei Sewell.
Butterfingers.
Yeah, but Penei Sewell's looked pretty bad, too. But I think he has more upside. And if Jamar Chase doesn't turn it around, which he probably will.
Well, we don't really know much about the Lions'
Penei Sewell?
Yeah.
He's really good.
He's good, but I mean...
really good last year, buddy.
He did, but I'm just like... Preseason, it's preseason.
He's also raw, right? A lot of those O-linemen will come into the league and develop because they've never played guys.
I mean, Quentin Nelson, like, guys like that aren't very... Like, he didn't really struggle right off the bat. Like, he was a beast. It's like a dime a dozen. To come off the...
I agree.
The college to NFL, not a lot of guys can just make that switch.
Step on the field and
like
be
that.
All right, well, yeah, great.
So I think people... Because I seen comments and be like, oh, Sewell's trash. Blah, blah. It's like he hasn't played a game yet, all right?
The other thing is...
Chill.
There's a reason he's a top 10 draft pick.
Exactly.
If it wasn't the Lions, it would have been somebody else. And it should have been the Bengals.
It should have been the Bengals.
So,
yeah.
And you can't change my mind on that.
No, I agree.
Like, I still think Jamar Chase was probably the best wide receiver drafted. Don't get me wrong.
The reporters were like, are you serious? Like, they drafted
a
wide
lot
receiver?
of people were like, wow, they got the weapon they needed, and he's got a relationship with Joe Burrow. And it's like, okay, well, that's great. But when Joe Burrow ends up on IR again, then who cares?
I'm staying away from him on draft night.
What's that?
I'm not touching any Bengals.
Mixon. I'll take Mixon. If he's available
late
enough.
We didn't talk about him a lot, but he is like another low-key guy.
Yeah, I mean, he slides because the other running backs are getting so much shine. But I think he's probably a 1,000-yard receiver or running back this year.
Yeah.
So,
if he can stay healthy again.
And, to be fair, in defense of the Bengals, they did bring in a couple decent O-linemen. But when you have a raw talent like Penei Sewell, if you can coach him up and you can make him better, which I hope the Lions, even as a Packer fan, manage to do because they've squandered so many good players. If you can do it, you do it.
Yep.
Especially when you already have some decent wide receivers. Like T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd's another guy who's falling down draft boards, by the way. He should be way higher ranked than he is. Especially, well, again, with the Jamar Chase drama, he might be up a little bit more, but
49ers, Detroit.
49ers in Detroit. I mean, we've established.
Next.
Yeah, let's not even waste any time.
No offense.
Sorry, buddy.
Arizona, Tennessee.
I like Arizona.
I also have Arizona.
And you know what's crazy about that is people are like, oh, it's got to be Tennessee. They're so good. They brought in so much talent.
Defense wins championship.
I'm going to tell you something, though. You want to know something wild? So in my bet, I actually took Tennessee. I got scared. I won't lie. But for week 1 betting odds, Arizona's at plus 130 odds. Great odds, in my opinion. You take that all day because I think their defense and their offense are more well-rounded than the entire Titans team.
Right.
Titans defense is bad. We've established that. So I think you take them.
Colts, Seahawks.
So you like the Seahawks.
I do like the Seahawks
As a Colts
first
fan,
week.
you like the Seahawks.
Yes.
I like the Colts.
Historically, the Colts have never been a week 1 team.
Quentin Nelson.
Especially, we're done with the preseason and we don't know who our starting quarterback is.
I know. And I don't want to say, oh, camps, blah, blah, blah. But Wentz looked good in camps. He looked like he had a good connection with Pittman. He looked solid. T.Y.'s out. That hurts. That's not good. Who's going to be taking his reps? Zach Pascal? If they didn't cut him, I don't even know if he's on the roster anymore.
Yeah. I mean, we still have that 3 running back set, like I said. But last year, dude, the Jags won 1 game. Want to know what it was? Week 1 versus the Colts.
Indianapolis, yeah.
The Colts have never been a week 1 team.
I just maybe it's a pipe dream.
Seahawks.
maybe it's a pipe dream, but the Frank Reich Carson Wentz connection back in Indy, I like Indy, and I took them on the bet.
Chargers versus Washington.
So this one's tough, and I think this one's a lot harder than people are gonna think it is. So from a betting perspective, the Chargers are favored, which makes sense.
It makes sense.
But it's not by much.
Right.
It's minus 120 for the Chargers and plus 102 for the football team. Sorry. So I personally, I'm going to go with Washington.
I agree.
I like Washington here because I like Fitzpatrick. I like their receivers. They got McLaurin, and I think they brought in, was it DJ Moore?
They brought in another top guy. I know that.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But some good wide receivers.
Yeah.
Some
Scary Terry's been under the radar for a while, and he still performs.
He's getting his shine a little bit now, but
now he has a guy that can actually throw to him.
Yeah, and I don't think I actually really like Taylor Heineke, and I thought he might win the starting job before they signed Fitzpatrick. But I just think Washington's defense is very good, and that's not to discount the Chargers either. I think the Chargers are on the rise. I know I've kind of slandered them a little bit throughout this whole process, but I mean, I like Washington. Honestly, I really like them going into this season. Their culture seems to be getting better. The team is getting better. The defensive line is, in my opinion, the best in football. So I mean,
Jets, Panthers.
Panthers.
I agree.
I really think Sam Darnold can turn it all around this year. I think he can play well enough. I mean, they cut Will Grier, right? Panthers did. So they obviously believe that that he can play.
That he's the guy. I agree.
Not that Will Grier was this all-world beater player, but
didn't somebody pick him up?
Atlanta, I think, or no, Dallas did.
Dallas did for a backup, yeah. So we got Jacksonville and Houston. I think Jacksonville.
Yeah, we've established. I think Houston might win.
I think we have we should place out a bounty for whoever picks the Houston to win one game.
What do you mean?
I don't know where I was going with that, but I just think that they're not going to win a single game this year because I don't think they're
bad.
If we're picking Jacksonville to easily beat them,
who is a team that needs work, they have a first year
because they don't play the Lions this year, so the Lions can't lose to them. Yikes! Cleveland, Chiefs.
So I know this is one we are definitely split on. And to be fair, you're definitely in Vegas's favor here.
Absolutely. I go Chiefs all day with that.
I'm taking Cleveland. I like Cleveland. Kevin Stefanski's a great head coach, and he proved that last year.
You're just riding the nuts.
Man, listen. if Cleveland loses week 1, then maybe I'll change my opinion.
But you can't change your opinion.
Well, no. I mean,
it's locked in.
Oh, so I think Cleveland's going to win everything now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Miami, New England.
New England. Honestly, I don't believe in Tua. Miami.
We both do not believe in Tua. He is not the answer.
Will Fuller won't be playing, I believe. So that's a wide receiver off. Devontae Parker's still great. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, I think that if they would have kept Fitzpatrick in, they would have been a playoff team.
I agree.
Green Bay versus New Orleans, which is played in Jacksonville.
So they actually pulled the betting odds on this game because it was up for debate where they were going to play, what the odds would be. So that's a void bet, but I still like the Packers.
I like the Packers there too. I think the Saints still have some
growing to do.
Yeah.
And we've established this, but without
Michael Thomas,
that's a tough loss.
Which we did talk about in fantasy, but if you can snag him in a later round, that's actually a pretty good thing.
In 3 different drafts, I got him in round 16 or 15.
That
is insane. Whether you like Michael Thomas or not, or whether you think he's going to have a good season or not, even if he misses 6 games, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. Broncos, Giants.
That's a tough game.
We disagreed on this one.
So we talked about this a little bit, and I'm full go on Denver. I really don't like the Giants. Honestly, the Giants, they need some work.
I think I think Daniel Jones is going to start showing out a little bit. So I do have the Giants winning that game. Not by much. I mean, like I said, it can go either way.
Well, the spread is -2.5.
So
for the Broncos, +2.5 for the
now,
Giants.
are they a playoff team? Absolutely not. But I'm not sold on Denver.
Well, I think Denver will win more games, and they're in a way tougher division.
Yeah. Chicago versus the Rams for the Sunday night game.
Which, by the way, probably going to be a pretty solid game.
I got the Rams, but that's solely based off the fact that the Chicago's QB situation is wrong. Justin Fields should be the starter. Andy Dalton should not be the starter.
As previously stated, everybody on this planet knows that Justin Fields should be starting. Whether you like him or not, I don't like him. Not that much. I think he's good, but I don't.
Anyway, what was it? By week 3 or 4, we said he would be the starter?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that's... I think when you look at the situation in Chicago, Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy need to be fired ASAP.
Oh, like, what would you say? Like, Mr. Trubisky absolutely lit them up in preseason?
And people are going to be like, well, he wasn't... it's preseason. It's going to be like, well, then why are you hyping up Justin Fields?
It's preseason. So we got Ravens, Raiders.
So I actually love the Ravens here, and I think that makes sense. I think that's
I got the Ravens too.
Because like the Raiders, I just think their roster needs so much work. Henry Ruggs is good, I guess. I mean, he was terrible last year.
But I mean, like Derek Carr, the QB. I mean, they always have their disagreements, but
it's funny. I actually still like Derek Carr.
I like Derek Carr too.
Honestly, I miss him having a good team because I feel like that made like the league better.
Did you hear the rumor that the Raiders tried to trade for Khalil Mack again for the Bears?
I did, and I think that's just the funniest shit. How do you trade a player away,
right?
And then go, we want him back. Like,
so
what?
We're gonna put this in the description, and we're also going to put it in our Facebook and Instagram captions. Dawson doesn't know about this yet, but what we're gonna do is, so if you guys send us in our DMs, either on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, or comments.
Yeah, just comments. Yeah.
Or if you DM us separately, if you post your picks for the week, for week 1, like we just did. So we picked Tampa, Falcons, Vikings, etc. For free, at the end of the year, whoever has the best record. So like for me and Dawson, it could be 300 and fucking whatever.
However many games there are.
We'll probably have a losing record.
Probably.
So whoever has the best one wins $300.
Oh, wow.
If you DM us, week 1. So you have to have your picks in by next week.
For the entire season or just...
No.
Or just week to week?
Just week to week. But you have to do it every week. But you have to start week 1. So if you start week 2, you're out. Like, it doesn't count.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, did you just come up with that, or were you planning on it the whole time? Wow. Okay.
$300 till the winner for free.
That's pretty cool.
Locked in.
Hopefully we don't pop off to the point that...
Hey.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens, but...
if there's a tie, you split it. If there's a 3-way tie, everyone gets $100 for free.
Or you could just go off who had their picks in the first. Like, I feel like... Because we're going to have to put a deadline on it, you know? What do you think? Kickoff weekend?
Yeah, so it'll be next week.
So next Sunday at 8:20 p.m.
Because we already put our picks in. Because this video is going to be uploaded today.
So, all right. Well, I think that's everything.
That is everything, I believe. I mean, we have our fantasy draft on Sunday. That's going to be very interesting.
That'll be great. We'll probably talk about that next week.
We'll be at B-Dubs. We'll probably post both of our teams at the end. Not sure about... I don't know how to live stream that or anything, but we're not going to really worry about that.
We'll talk about it on the cast next
Absolutely.
week. So
typically, we'll probably do this on Wednesday or Thursdays.
I was recovering from
he had COVID, so that's why it got delayed.
It kind of got delayed, but we'll get back to it.
So this is it. Week to week.
Yeah.
We'll try to incorporate some video, but
as of right now, we're just trying to keep it as simple as possible. We're still learning, so. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys tuning in.
Until next week.
This has been the Crowncast. Have a good night.